Hello and welcome back to another Star Citizen video. And oh boy, I forgot to record this video. Oh my goodness. Okay. But anyway, as long we managed to get it before we reach the what do you call this? The semi-finals? Yeah, the top four ships. I think we are okay so far. Alright, before we begin, like, subscribe, hit the notification button and help this channel grow, and of course, PSA, you do not need to buy any of this shit with real money, even though I will talk a little bit about what shit is kind of worth like buying with real money per se, but you don't need to. All right, so let's take a look at Shipshowdown 2025 and let's see what we have on the list. Unfortunately, it is round 3 already, so I'm not saying not a big fan, like I was too late. Because this week we have Gamescom on the side as well, and I want to cover some other games. Yup. Alright, so we have M50 and Razer for the day. Personally, I will vote for the M50. Easy pick for me, bias, plus it's cheaper compared to the Razer. Razer is definitely a nicer looking ship, or rather nicer space sci-fi? No. Let me recap, because the M50 literally is one of the nicest racing ship out there that I like. But the Razor is more sci-fi-y, Star Citizen racing ship. Okay. But I like the M50. The M50 has all the quirks of I'll call it a can I use vintage? If I'm going to use the in-game lore, it is vintage, retro-looking, kind of earthly spaceship, have wings, it looks like a plane. This looks like a plane, this looks like an F1. Yeah, all right. So next up, let's see, what do we have? Round 1, we have the RAF, Asgard takes the cake. Next up, we have Ursa Medivac versus MTC. Ursa Medivac takes the cake. This one, I think, yeah, Ursa Medivac. If you want to spend money on a vehicle, if you really want a vehicle, Ursa Medivac is your boy. And if you want to carry a vehicle in your Asgard other than the Nova tank, the Ursa Medivac. The RAF, yeah, okay, you know what? This is a clear cut. I would pick Asgard in general. Both utility and usability. The Asgard is way better than the RAF. Same goes with the Ursa Medivac, way better than the MTC in general. If it's a normal Ursa, then probably the MTC will be a little bit better. But because it's Medivac takes the cake. Next up, we have the M50 versus Razer. If we are talking about usability, price, and whatnot, the M50 is a better pick. You don't get any much firepower on the Razer. That's not because this is a racing ship. However, the Razer is a much faster ship. Yeah, I'm biased. I'm gonna go for M50. Next up, we have, right, so the underdog division, the Gladiator, I'm gonna say underrated, underutilized, because the Gladiator is heavily underutilized. This guy really needs a rework. Really needs a rework. It needs to shift a few components here and there to make it a bit more enticing. It is technically a bomber slash, I cannot use the word bomber because it's not really a bomber, but it has bombs. I think size 5. Yeah, it's a two-seated pilot ship. So we need to change a little bit on the Guardian to make it a bit more enticing. Somewhere in between, if I were to change it, right, I would probably, if they want to keep the bombing, I would say the bomber bay should be swappable. Either you have a torpedo bay or a bomber bay. Did he say anything about bombing over here? Yeah, there. Cargo hold or bomb bay. Oh, you can choose cargo hold or bomb bay. So I'm going to add one more. Give a torpedo bay. All right, so this will be the smallest torpedo ship out there. And that gives a little bit more choice, more options, I would say. 85X is a touring ship straight up, so it is a civilian ship. It is a nice ship. This is technically my second ship that I bought in the verse, because I want something to just cruise luxuriously. This ship really nails down everything. However, I kind of outgrew it because you can only do so much of touring. I would say the Gladiator would probably take the spot. Next up, we have the Zeus Mark II ES versus the Corsair. This is a one-sided battle. Corsair straight up. Even though with its sad nerf on the weapon system, so now it becomes a man turret for the bottom two weapon size 4. Yeah, basically it got a DPS bad. If the Corsair did not get the DPS nerf, this is actually my go-to recommendation other than the Taurus. Okay, straight up. Zeus Mark II ES, nice little nifty ship, and you know what? This is actually a decent civil. I won't say civilian ship, a decent multi-crew ship if you don't want something big like the Constellation series, because the Corsair is big. This is more of a medium size, right? The Zeus Mark II ES. Sadly, it's going up against Corsair. Probably Corsair will take the spot. Next up, we have the Vulture versus the Mole. This is self-explanatory. One is mining, one is salvaging. Who will win? Vulture, because it's solo and it's much cooler versus than the Mole. Unfortunately, the Mole requires a multi-crew, right? You can't do it solo. Solo, even you can do it solo, it's not efficient. That's what I want to say, right? It's just not efficient. Next up, we have the Prowler utility versus the Talon. This is a horrible matchup because we are getting the two same brand on the alien side. So obviously you want to go for the best of the best, and that is the Prowler chassis. Sadly, this is not, no, rewind. Yes, sadly, this is not the Prowler, the dropship variant, the OG variant for the Terran race. However, we are getting the second best, which is the Prowler utility. It is on the Prowler chassis. It has everything the Prowler has, except it sacrifices a little bit of stealth. Definitely no dropship, not saying dropship capability, just less dropship, more cargo running. If I want to have a blockade runner, and I think this is a very good blockade runner ship because it can carry 32 cargo SCU, but the one that you care the most is it has tractor beam, and because it's a Terran ship, it has hover feature. Not so I won't say not so prominent in the game because it doesn't offer anything extra at the moment, but it is a stealth ship. The key thing, it is a stealth build. That's the reason why I would go for this. The Talon is a nice ship, but it's a light fighter, and yeah, no, you're just going up against the Prowler utility. It's just a no-brainer. Prowler utility will take the cake. Last but not least, we are taking a look at one of the ships that I will literally recommend to small organization who cannot afford an Idris. Now, we have the Polaris, my go-to boy, and we have the Star Lancer tech, technically the Mini Polaris, or the, no, Mini Polaris. I cannot use the word Mini Carrack because this is not an exploration ship. This is mainly a patrol ship. It is a combat version of the Star Lancer series. And yes, we are going against a small, not a small ship, it is a large ship versus a bigger ship, right? Of course, the big boy will take the, I won't say take the cake, I will vote for the big boy. I'm biased, right? Obviously, the Polaris. Size 10 torpedoes, lots of pew pew. If you don't want to do combat with the Polaris, you can strip, I won't say you can strip out, you just don't carry torpedoes, or you know what? No, why do we want to strip away weapons? You just don't use it for combat, but you want to be combat ready. Yeah, it has hangar bay, you can fit whatever you want. That is Scorpius, RSI Scorpius size and below. If I'm not mistaken, you cannot put a F8 Lightning. I need to double check. If you can squeeze in an F8 Lightning, I think somebody tried to, because it also can fit a Vulture. Lightning is definitely bigger, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't know if you can squeeze in an F8 Lightning, but if you can, hey, the Polaris. But in general, it can fit most of the single-seated pilot, single pilot combat ship out there. For example, not say the Antares, Saber. We have the Super Hornet, one of my favorite ships out there. Unfortunately, no Vanguard Warden. If no Vanguard Warden, most likely no F8 Lightning. You can definitely squeeze in a Vulture in there, so you have a salvaging ship on top of it. It has enough vehicle bay to fit quite a few stuff in it as well. Plus, all right, you can fit in lots of Furies. Okay, most likely if you want to go for a combat-esque Polaris, probably you put like 3 or 4 Furies in the vehicle bay, and then you probably squeeze in one Scorpius Antares. Predominantly the Antares, because the Antares has quantum dampener and interdiction stuff. So you want to block people from running away, and then the Polaris and the Fury just go pew pew. Yup. Whereas the Star Lens attack, it is a ship. If you want the best ship experience, all right, if you want to leave out your Firefly, Fantasy, a little bit of the Expanse as well, because the Expanse is a bit different in terms of ship. But if you want to have a small ship with almost everything, the Star Lens attack. It has a medical bay. It has enough pew pew to do whatever you need to do. Dropship capability, gunship capability. It has a hangar that you can fit in a Fury. There we go. So it's technically a mini Polaris without the torpedo bay. If there's a torpedo bay, it's literally the mini Polaris. Okay, let's put it this way. So yeah, Star Lens attack is the ship's ship. Right? Any ship with a medical bay, usually I can easily recommend it. Easily. Right? It's one of those mandatory feature if you want to experience Star Citizen as a whole. Of course, that does not take away if you want to go for pure combat experience. If it's pure combat experience, you know what? At the moment, unfortunately, the F8 Lightning. All right, so that's that. This last part is going to be a hard decision for the community to choose, because I think it's split. But I think it favors the Polaris just a little bit. All right, because most of the whales and concierge, the guys who spend way above $1,000, most likely wants the Polaris to be in the top 4. But at the same time, for budget group, the Star Lens attack is a solid pick. All right, so with that, let's end with the top 4 who I think would be in. New kid on the block, Asgard. Here we have I want the M50 to be in this spot, but the Gladiator is also a good place for this spot as well. So M50 or the Gladiator. I am biased, so M50. Next part is Corsair. This is quite clear cut. It's probably going to be the Corsair. Yeah, I would be surprised if the Vulture takes the cake. Yeah, Zeus Mark II and the Mole is a little bit low chance. Yeah, I'm going to say probably Corsair and Vulture. But no, you know what? I will vote the Vulture. I'll take back a little bit. I want the Vulture. We need some utility ships to win some skins. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Corsair. I want the Vulture. Last one is obviously I'm biased to the Polaris, but the Polaris and the prove me wrong. Polaris and Star Lens attack will not make it to this, and it is the Talon. Alright, alien ship. I don't think we have an alien ship on the top 4. So if I want to choose, my fanboy says Polaris, but the other half of me that likes alien says the Prowler utility. You know what? Polaris. I'm gonna put my feet down, 10 toes down. Polaris, Vulture, Gladiator. No, M50. Right. This is part our fanboy. Yeah, M50 and Asgard. All right, that's it. So that's all I have for you for today. We're going to take a look once we hit the top 4. Once we get all top 4, then we're going to make another video. I've been doing the Ship Showdown for almost every year. No, actually every year. And then of course this year we want to change a little bit because CIG already raised a lot of money. We don't need to go through all this ship. I already went through for this video. So let's see who the community picks. Yep. And I'm not bothered with the winner, but if the winner is the Polaris, it will be because it goes along with one of the older Shipshowdown where a lot of people don't really like the character, and at the same time we have a strong community who likes the character. Yeah, the character wins. Like it literally demolished everything. And of course we got the Argo cargo, the, I would say, the little ship that could. Even though I think lots of people want to troll on that Shipshowdown, but you know, the little ship that could. So never underestimate the community. And that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and help this channel grow. Until then, I will see you guys in the verse, and fly dangerous.